Well, had to take a break from the office. Not that there was really a break, but in taking care of this coronavirus thing, it is really getting frustrating. And you know, I had to think, sometimes in frustration, gotta take a step back, disconnect, and see or analyze why I'm having such a response. So I keep on, I don't mean to do it, but I keep on saying no test, no test, no test, and it's true, but I'm letting that go. And I guess if you look at the 30,000 foot view, if there are no tests, what are we going to do? We're probably going to still treat people the same way, or if there were tests. So if it turns out that we do have a lot of positives, which we will, we don't send everybody to the emergency room. We don't send everybody to the ICU. It still just is hunker down, stay put, and ride the storm out. So hopefully that little panic buy that everybody did over the last week with toilet paper, and for me it was Pellegrino, water. My wife took care of the toilet paper, and protein powder, some bean bags, rice bags, and a couple of veggies. I think my wife got some frozen meat. So we're set for a couple weeks. And you know what? I've seen some broadcasts on YouTube about best diet for the coronavirus. There is no documented diet, but if you're talking about a healthy nutrition plan to improve immunity, the only thing that I've come up with data, strong data, would be the fasting mimicking diet. So fasting mimicking diet is a 5-day fast, and usually during the 5 days it shuts everything down, which might not be the safest thing if you're infected. However, assuming that most of my warriors are not infected, you've paid it forward. This is where we're going to really excel. So good job, my warriors. If you come off of the 5-day into the 6th to the 16th day, that is when your immune system really kicks up. Not in a reaction like a cytokine storm, but the 5 days of fasting. Well, I'll put my link to the video down below. 5 days of fasting essentially gets rid of senescent cells, precancer cells. Then in 6th to the 16th day, during a refeed, if it's a healthy refeed, it'll actually turn on and improve the immune response. So in theory, that might work to strengthen the response to a virus. Again, that's an assumption, because this is a novel virus, so nobody yet has antibodies. We can assume that the people that have recovered across the world, and check out the Hopkins daily meter, there are recovered patients that have been documented and actually do fine, and then they are documented as negative. So there's antibodies that are circulating. So it would be nice if we had to share that herd immunity, but that's not going to happen that quick. And to share that, you have to be in the midst of somebody else, and that defeats the purpose right now. Maybe later on, but that would be a nutrition practice I might suggest. And for the majority of you with no symptoms and you just came in contact with somebody, we have to self-isolate. But during the time that we isolate, perhaps if you're not having any symptoms, we do the best we can, which is what I want to talk about in this video. I'm tired of complaining, no tests, and I can't figure out who's who, positive or negative. But you know, I thought if we just, anybody that comes in, old or young, because it's not just, Micheline sent me something from Paris, I think, that you're having people that are succumbing to disease even below 50. So it's not just the 80-year-olds that you hear about. Everybody can get intubated. Everybody can have a flare-up. So if we just live like you have a mild viral infection, stay away, hunker down, prepare, and recover. Well, we got talking about 10 days. So hopefully most of my warriors that have invested in healthy lifestyle change can make it through that. But if you haven't been positive yet, and you haven't come across anybody that's sick, cold, cough, fevers, chills, even if it's supposedly allergy season, I would say prepare now. It's never too late, because we don't know how long this will last, but prepare now for a healthy lifestyle. Everything I've been a proponent for in the last, since I opened this YouTube channel, has been for healthy lifestyle. And I think this is the perfect time. So what do I mean by healthy lifestyle? It means sleeping at least 6 to 8 hours, refreshing. Sometimes that requires medical cannabis. I'll talk about that later on in the week, because of a viral infection of medical cannabis might be an issue, but I'll talk to you about that later. It also means exercise. I mean, 15 minutes, 3 days a week, 60 minutes on the weekend, which is what I always say. I think that's fair. I just talked to a home health nurse who was really working for Advocate, and he has to stay healthy, because he's the one that's going to be a point person for making sure all of our elderly at home that can't get to the doctor's office are healthy. All of our elderly that are post discharge at the hospital are healthy, are staying healthy. So we got to keep him healthy, and he needs some work, but it's never too late to start. This is the perfect time to start. I think this is a wake-up call. It's forcing us to close the doors, stay with the family, play Monopoly or board games. If you're alpha generation, you probably don't know what a board game is, but I think it's important to be with the family again. Old-fashioned stuff. Exercise. Eat healthy food. Don't go out and eat. Cook it. What does that mean? Yeah, it means preparing stuff. I was talking to somebody the other day, and he said, yeah, his mom used to take 2 hours to prep food, present food, and clean up food. And that's okay. I mean, compared to, you wouldn't think that's efficient, but there's other upsides to preparing food. Whole food, mostly plant-based, will be healthy, not only in the prep and not only in the eating and in consumption, but also in the prep, the sharing time. It also is methodical. It's almost meditative for the prepper. And if you anticipate, remember my mom preparing food, like, oh, I'm super hungry, that smells so good. You watch, you hang out, and then when it comes time, ring the bell and go, everybody go eat. It's such a ritual that it makes it anticipatory. I think this is what is forcing us back into this old-fashioned thing. So eating whole food, mostly plant-based diet, maybe doing the FMD, definitely some form of exercise. And this is Beaver Pond, right behind my office. That's where I just came from. And Beaver Pond is small, but as you see, it extends over there, goes down to Schick Road, and then back road behind my office. I just walked here in the 8 minutes it took me to film so far. But it's kind of nice, right? There you can hear the cars in the distance, but I'm not concentrating on that, I'm concentrating on the birds. And then I might as well go off trail here. And then just to see water, to see grass. This will be blooming soon. And you might look at this and say, ooh, it's ugly, it's an ugly pond. But there's so much wildlife here, and nature has its speed. I've talked about Japanese forest bathing before. Nature has its speed, and whether you are distressed, depressed, anxious, you stay here long enough. There's a bench right over there. There's a dock over there. You stay here long enough, and it'll be almost meditative and therapeutic. It makes you reflect, especially if you disconnect with your phone. It makes you reflect about a couple things, but it allows you the permission to slow down, which we are not giving ourselves, especially young people. I see my niece that is totally connected. Every free second is to the internet, and that's okay. Well, no, it's not okay. I see that as being a problem later on, but it's okay for now. However, I'm at the privilege of being in a generation where I remember when the first computer came out, and it was like playing Atari and ping pong, and noticing the change and the evolution, I'm sure it'll evolve even faster and it'll be so cool. But I have the privilege of seeing slow and touching slow and touching old school. So I still remember my mom cooking. Now a lot of the families nowadays probably don't cook anymore, so who's supposed to pass down the tradition? We'll pass down the tradition of 1-0-0 start, and that's a little bit disempowering. So exercise a little bit. Now I'll do some exercise videos, perhaps from Endorphin Effect, where I had the Ignite Your Life Part 2, or I'll do them at home. Now I expect you to go outside, and it's going to be a challenge to go to a gym. You have to wipe down the equipment, watch your distance. So exercise is there, but this is exercise too. It's not like bodybuilding exercise, but you'll still get out. Eating whole food, mostly plant-based diet, maximizing on sleep, and finally, the big rub, spirituality. Now, as much as those of you who have ignored me with regards to having a spiritual practice, I won't push it on you, but I think that if you can see where most people will get to that point sooner or later, it's usually at the end, the very, very end. You accept a creator, or you look at a higher power and say, please take me. But I think you can touch that before it gets to be crisis. It's probably crisis now, but if you develop a spiritual practice, that's cool. That's cool. If you develop the spiritual practice now, even 5 minutes of breath exercise, like my guru Andy Weil, 4-7-8 breaths twice a day, before your feet hit the ground in the morning off the bed and as your head hits the pillow, the brain will appreciate it. And I have a whole bunch of videos on that, but this is just linking everything together. And instead of being all stressed out and trying to find a solution, I thought I would just go back to basics. And my friend Micheline pointed it out, and I wasn't practicing it myself with all this frustration, and now I see it. So my warriors, awesome job, keep it up, we'll make it through this. My pre-warriors, I think it's the perfect time to start, because this corona thing will probably last a long time. I'd say 9 months. It'll probably peak. I think it's going to surge. See my videos. The positive test will be huge in the next week to 2 weeks, and then the symptoms will surge, but we'll be okay. You guys who have borderline diabetes, insulin resistance, high cholesterol, high blood pressure out of control, but you don't want to take medicines, it might be wise to call me and start the medicines for the time being. And then work on getting healthy with those 4 parameters. And I promise you, if you do well by the end of this summer, we'll get you off all that stuff and you can maintain on your own, and we will all be warriors through all this crap. I think all this started because we're so isolated that kind of forgetting about everybody else when we should be watching each other. So I'm putting this video out for all of you guys that are borderline, and you warriors that have done some great things. I ask you to reach out to other people that are worried, calm them down, take them on a hike, take them on a walk, or if they're ready to start a lifestyle change and make it healthy and they don't know where to go, show them what you do. Share a couple videos, not mine, anybody's, to just inspire them to change. We'll get through this together, but I think it's forcing us to be together again. So, Beaver Pond, going back to the clinic. Unfortunately, I had to cancel a lot of patients, mostly my 70-year-olds or my 60-year-olds with a lot of medical problems, because I didn't want them to turn positive or have symptoms just for a physical exam. Hopefully, if you're one of them and you're watching this, let's make some changes now. Don't wait for me to tell you that your cholesterol is too high, your glucose and your sugar's going higher. Expect that and start living your life like we want to beat this corona thing, and we'll do it together. So hang in there, we'll make it through. Keep on subscribing, and I'll put out a couple more videos with regards to healthy lifestyle, or at least beginning a healthy lifestyle. Stay safe.